Welcome back. Welcome back to my channel. Uh, this is my new summer look here, folks. It's too hot to put that stupid hat on tonight. So, inspired by Nathan Jones, I'm going to leave myself uncovered. All right. So, I'm going to do another movie log. And before I do that, I'm going to answer the newest chat topic from my friend Ian Forkerball. Community chat for anybody who wants to join in any of the film collecting and watching community. If you'd like to leave a response below my video or make a video of your own if you like. So this time Ian has asked 3 questions, and the first one is, what is our favorite decade for films? What is our favorite year for films? And finally, does our number one film take place in our favorite decade? So anyway, interesting questions. So my favorite decade for films would have to be the 1940s. And the reason I say that is when I was growing up back in the 1960s and I was coming home every day from school and watching the early show before dinner, right? And just falling in love with these old movies. Most of them were from the 1940s. And strangely enough, they were mostly from Paramount Pictures. I think the local TV station had a package they bought from Paramount or something. So I was falling in love with all these great stars like Dorothy Lamour and Betty Hutton, uh, Alan Ladd, Veronica Lake, Bing Crosby, uh, Bob Hope, Eddie Bracken, people like that, William Demarest. I was seeing all these great musicals and comedies and sometimes mystery films from that era, and I just fell in love with it. And I love it to this day. I love the way everything looked back then during those war years. The clothes people wore, the way women looked with their long hair and all that. Paulette Goddard, another great star from that era. So I've always had a big sort of a romantic and very nostalgic feeling about the 1940s, even though I didn't live in that decade, of course. But my parents did, so I kind of attach my feelings of romanticism with the life that my parents were living during the war years. Very dramatic, romantic time for them. My favorite year for films. Well, no. First, I'm going to say my favorite film does not come from the 1940s. My number one favorite film is still The Night of the Hunter, which of course came out in 1955, and that is still my number one. Although Casablanca is coming up close to number one. I would say they're almost even right now. And of course, that did come from 1943, actually 1942 when it was made. So finally, my favorite year for films, okay, which is going to surprise you considering what I just answered about the 1940s. I'm going to choose the year 1978, and that is because by that time in my life, I was getting a little bit more mature about the way I was looking at films and the way I was beginning to sort of look at different things and appreciate directors and styles and all that sort of thing. Not that I was in any way, shape, or form a film scholar or critic. I was just sort of getting more mature about the way I look at films. And that was the year that two of my all time favorite movies came out. One is Days of Heaven by Terrence Malick, and the other is Interiors by Woody Allen. So 1978, I would say, it's my favorite year for films. All right, now let's do the movie log. I want to show you some of the things that I've been watching recently. Starting off with, this may surprise a lot of people who know me, and my dislike for gore and blood and all that wonderful stuff. Shock! Directed by Mario Bava, 1977, one of his last films. I picked this up at Barnes & Noble without knowing much about it. I think I'd buy a lot of stuff at Barnes & Noble because for one thing, it's my favorite place to shop. I just love to hang out there, and I always feel like I have to buy something. So I come out with a pile of books or a couple of magazines, or I just pick films up that are blind buys, mainly because I want to support the store and I want to keep them open. Because if my local Barnes & Noble ever closes, I don't think I want to live in this world. So I do my best to keep Barnes & Noble going. Anyway, I picked this up. It's from Arrow Video. They're selling a lot of products from Arrow Video now, and the usual very good product from that company. Nice slipcase, and here's the cover. And it's just one of these that has an alternate cover, right? So here's the disc inside. Nice little pamphlet. Interesting artwork in this. Check this out. And here's the alternate cover. I'll show you this. Okay. I'm sure a lot of you already have this because I know there are a lot of Bava fans out there. Okay, so how do I feel about this? I enjoyed the film. It was not a bloody mess like I was kind of expecting it to be. So I just took it for what it was. Daria Nicolodi plays a woman who has gone through a terrible trauma in her life. Her husband has supposedly committed suicide. She has a young son, and after a long time in a sanitarium where she underwent shock treatments and all sorts of things, she went back to the house that she lived in with her husband and son for some reason to live there again. Well, she owns the house, I guess, and with her new husband. And so she's trying to resume her life, and all sorts of weird things start to happen. And it gets very creepy and bloody. And the best thing about it, of course, being a Bava film, is the look of the film. The cinematography is very creative, very colorful. Bava is one of those, I've always described him as someone who knows how to use color as he did black and white. He was a master of the black and white Gothic film, and when he went into color, he became a master at that as well. There are a lot of extremely violent scenes, although not as many as you might expect in a fairly, well, no longer a modern horror film, but for that era, during the years of the Giallo and all that sort of thing, it wasn't bad. I would probably watch this again, but not great, but it was okay. So how many people have seen this? I'd like to know. Next up is a film that I bought the same day. This is a fairly recent film starring Channing Tatum called Dog. No horror in this one, just a lot of interesting physical comedy between this former military man who is taking this retired military dog cross country to attend the funeral of the military man that the dog was once attached to. Of course, now this dog has been trained to be aggressive and violent, and there are a lot of mishaps with the dog getting loose and attacking people, including Channing Tatum. And of course, it's kind of predictable. You know that these two are just going to bond and become the best of friends. It was a really cool movie. I liked it. I like Channing Tatum a lot, and the dog was a great actor. Probably should get an Oscar nomination anyway, right? Made me almost want to go out and get a dog. Almost. Next up is another fairly recent film, Joe Bell, starring Mark Wahlberg. I like this very much as well. I'm a big Wahlberg fan, as I've said in other videos. This is based on a true story. Joe Bell was a man who was from, let's see, was it Oregon or Washington? I think it was Oregon. My memory is so bad. I just watched it about a week and a half ago. Anyway, he's a working class guy, married, has a teenage son. The son was harassed at school. He was bullied terribly, and it drove him to suicide. The kid was gay. He was very obviously gay, trying to be his true self, and he was just treated very, very badly, and it drove him to suicide. So the school would not do anything to help the kid or the parents. So this father decides, he just feels like he has to do something. He decides to start walking from his home in Oregon. He's going to walk to New York, and along the way try to speak to different school groups and church groups and other groups to raise awareness of bullying. So this is based on a true happening. A very good story. Very well done. Wahlberg does a terrific job. Okay? And I can't remember the name of the kid that played his son, but there he is in that picture there. Also a very good actor. Okay? Next up is a film I picked up at Dollar Tree. Again, I can't keep myself out of Dollar Tree. This is also based on true characters and true happenings. Big Sur, starring an actor named Jean-Marc Barr, somebody I never heard of before. Kate Bosworth is in it, Josh Lucas, and Radha Mitchell. Based on the novel of the same name by Jack Kerouac. Now, of course, Jack Kerouac was the famous author in the 1950s and 60s associated with the Beat movement. Here's what it says on the back here. An adaptation of American literary icon Jack Kerouac's novel of the same name, Big Sur focuses on a moment in Kerouac's life when, overwhelmed by the success of his book On the Road and struggling to battle inner demons, he seeks respite in 3 brief sojourns to a cabin in the small coastal California town of Big Sur. Michael Polish's film is at once a poetic meditation and a love letter to the work of an author who defined the Beat Generation. Very interesting movie, beautiful to look at, just gorgeous locations. And what's so cool about it is that it has a lot of quotations from Jack Kerouac's book as the character is playing out. Um, Very well done. I don't think it was 100% successful, but it was a terrific idea, and they put a lot of love and hard work into it. So yeah, I kind of liked it. I think a lot of people will enjoy this. Next up is a film that I picked up at Big Lots a few days ago. Totally blindsided me. Never heard of this before. From 2018, Nostalgia. I This was wonderful. This totally had held my attention from start to finish. Actors John Hamm, Catherine Keener, Ellen Burstyn, Bruce Dern is in it. Let's see, Amber Tamlin, Beth Grant from Donnie Darko. It's all about different people who are dealing with loss, family members, loss of homes, and it's all about possessions and what possessions, the things that are left behind and left to children or grandchildren, what they mean to people when they find these things like boxes of letters and certain keepsakes that a grandparent always had. Or in Ellen Burstyn's case, she's a widow whose house has just burned down and she was only able to save a few things out of the house. And one thing she's able to save, she grabs this keepsake that her husband had. It was a something that was handed down from his father and his father before him. It was an autographed baseball, a baseball that was autographed by Ted Williams, which of course would mean a lot to a baseball freak and also be worth a lot of money. So she has this item that never meant much to her, but she hangs on to it with great love and feeling because it meant so much to her husband. And that's what the movie is about. How people cling to things, they let go of things. And for people like us in the collecting community, I think a lot of people would enjoy this because we attach a lot of importance to the things that we collect, the things that we amass around ourselves, and we wonder, is anybody going to care about these things when we're no longer here? And this may be something you'd like to see. I thought it was wonderful. Directed by a man named, let's see, Mark Pellington, another name I never heard of before, but I'm going to look him up, see what else he's done. But very good acting by all concerned. I also picked this up just for fun. Betty Davis and Robert Wagner, Madam Sin from 1972. This was the pilot for a TV series which did not sell. I don't think that Betty Davis is going to be in the TV series. I think it's just going to be Robert Wagner. This is sort of a James Bond type spy takeoff. Very well executed and a lot of fun. Betty Davis just chews up the scenery all around her as this evil Madam Sin, very mysterious. It says here, even Dr. No would say yes to Madam Sin. All right. And Robert Wagner plays an ex-CIA agent who gets kidnapped by this crazy woman because she wants to hijack a submarine. Gives you an idea of what's going on here. Lots of crazy sci-fi gadgets and great locations and all that. Lots of fun. Betty Davis. Miss Betty Davis. And finally, just tonight, I decided to rewatch Magnolia, which I have not seen since it first came out to theaters in all this time. I picked this 2-disc edition a couple of years ago at Big Lots. So it was fun to watch it again and some of the extra features. I love this movie. This is every bit as effective now, even though I pretty much remembered everything that happens. But it was fascinating to watch again because of all the actors, and especially number one acting honor goes to Tom Cruise. He is terrific in this. I think it's one of the best things he ever did. So anyway, so that's my little movie log and my answers to the latest chat from my good friend Ian Forkerball. Again, I invite everybody to join in if you'd like to, and please leave a comment. Let me know what you think about these films. Take care.